Hello everyone. Making mistakes is an inevitable part of life, and in this webinar we'll focus on dealing with past tax mistakes. Now firstly, we're going to look at the request for corrections process, specifically when this is available for taxpayers and when it isn't, and also practically how to go about the process. And then we'll unpack the voluntary disclosure program. Now this voluntary disclosure relief has been part of the South African tax system as a permanent feature ever since the enactment of the Tax Administration Act. Now, we will look specifically also when taxpayers are eligible to apply for this relief and then what the application process entails. Specifically on eligibility, that's sometimes a bit of a grey area. There's also sometimes a bit of uncertainty there, specifically around the whole notion of the disclosure being voluntary. And SARS and the courts have taken quite a strict interpretation of what is meant with a disclosure actually being a voluntary disclosure, and that's the very important qualifying criterion before you can apply for the process. So we will unpack that a bit. There's a recent court decision also on the meaning of voluntary and what that entails, and we'll also look at the practical application process. How do you apply? There's an application process e-filing. You then also deal with the SARS voluntary disclosure unit, so you usually get assigned a specific case officer that deals with your case. And then once you go through the entire process, it ended off by then signing a contract with SARS. You actually enter into a voluntary disclosure agreement. So we'll talk through that whole process. And then also we'll unpack the relief. What relief do you actually get by doing the voluntary disclosure program? So taking part in it. So essentially the relief relates to penalty. You will get a waiver of penalties, but you still need to pay the tax, and interest also remains payable. So those are the things that we'll unpack in this webinar. So I'd like to invite you to join us at the Tax Faculty for this webinar on dealing with tax mistakes and also the voluntary disclosure program.